Before we start the video, I just want to say that I have a Q&A going on, so you can go down in the description and you'll find a link to a post I made like a week or so ago. You can ask me any question that you want to ask. It doesn't have to be video game related, literally anything goes. And I might even answer your question in the follow-up answer video that I'll be posting on a channel soon. So yeah, if you want to ask me something and have me give you a dumbass answer and put it in a dumbass video, then go to the link in the description. Anyway, let's get to the actual video. A lot of people seem to think that I no longer like Monster Hunter Wilds because after my review, I've been dropping criticism videos and I've been harsher than usual. And I totally understand why people would think that this is the way I feel about Wilds, especially if you're a long-time viewer of the channel, because you know that I don't usually drop criticism videos. I have like a handful in my channel with over like 100 videos. And I think because I haven't been uploading as often as I would like to, I've ended up giving you guys the wrong idea that I'm not having fun with Wilds and that all I have is complaints, when in reality, I love this game. And so today I wanted to just sit down and talk to you and, you know, just go over a couple of points to really tell you my honest feelings about the game, because I don't want people out here to think that I'm just hating on the game because it brings me views. That's not the case. Do I honestly believe in the criticism that I've been dropping? Yes, I don't like the fact that Zoshia is huntable once in the base version of the game. I don't like the fact that we don't have a gathering hub, and I don't like the fact that a lot of the skills and technical issues have been happening alongside performance as well, obviously. And I think most of you guys can get behind that kind of stuff, right? I mean, why would anyone here be happy that Zoshia can only be hunted once in low rank and not have any gear? And also, why would anyone here be happy about armor skills being broken? And not broken as in, oh, they're too good, broken as in they're not working properly. I think we're all a little disappointed that the game has launched with technical problems, but at the end of the day, it's still a very fun game. And in fact, allow me to go back and correct myself a little bit. What propelled me to make this video the most was not the fact that I don't want people to think I'm a hater. It's because I have been seeing a lot of criticism, some of it, dare I say, just straight up hating about Wilds. And dude, it's totally fine if you don't like Wilds. If it didn't jive with you, that's fine. You're not obligated to like a game just because it's popular, but there's people that are really going out of their way to hate on things that, for me, don't make any sense. Like, some people are saying that the game's graphics are shit and the game itself looks bad, and I strongly disagree. I think it looks really good. But I think one of the strangest criticisms that I've seen thus far towards Monster Hunter Wilds is the fact that people think that the story is woke. It's really got me scratching my head. People are saying stuff like there's forced diversity because Olivia is this like buff woman and Gemma has like a shaved side of her head. It really puzzles me. I don't know. It really confuses me. I don't know, bro. It just seems like a lot of extra steps to saying that you don't like women and you like men. Okay, I'm just fucking around, poking fun here and there, creating some banter. I have a couple topics that I want to cover just like in a surface level to tell you guys that I'm actually having fun with the game, lighten up the mood, because I don't want to be seen as a hater. I want you guys to know my true feelings. So let's just have like a mini review slash general conversation about couple bits about Monster Hunter Wilds. Let's start with the story. I know a lot of people don't like the story. They just don't like the narrative. You know, they think that it's silly that there's things like artificial life in Monster Hunter now. And I totally get it. It wasn't your thing. It wasn't your vibe. You didn't like it. You didn't dig it. That's totally cool. I don't think you're wrong for not enjoying the story of a video game, but honestly, I didn't have a problem with it. I actually liked it a lot. I thought the story was dope. Things start off with you just finding a random kid and then you want to return him into this village where you thought that no one could live in, and suddenly, artificial monsters. That's a pretty big shift in the Monster Hunter narrative dynamic. Like, bro, I cannot wait to see what Oceanus is gonna make story-wise, and like, I just want to see what kind of content he's gonna produce around the story of Wilds. The two bits of criticism, or at least the main ones that I see online, are people saying that they don't really like Nata and that they also don't like the guardian monster concept. I don't want to dwindle on it too much because I do have a video that will address, you know, the story more thoroughly. Like, I'm going to talk about the roles of the characters and how I feel about the whole thing, so just know that that is coming. And that is the reason why today all I'm going to say is that I get it if you don't like it, but I do. I thought the concept of artificial life and essentially canonizing, don't know if that's a word, but we'll stick with it. The Equal Dragon weapon into the incarnation of Zoshia, that's really cool. I really like that concept. And plus, we got Gemma. Like, she is the Mithra of Monster Hunter. How can I not like the story when she's in it, you know? It's just me being a little biased. I will say, though, there are definitely characters that I thought were annoying and that I didn't really like, but for the most part, I really did like the narrative and the cast. Something else that I kind of want to address right away, just like something that people have been talking about, is the monster roster, which is less than previous base games that we've been getting in the 5th gen. I think that now that people have hit the end game and they're playing against, like, you know, the Tempered Apexes and Tempered Arkveld and Tempered Gormagala, they are now kind of feeling like the roster is just smaller because they're hunting these 6 monsters for the Ardean weapon materials and such. This does make sense in my head, because hunting a Tempered Gormagala is a lot harder than hunting something like a Tempered Chemitress. You know, you slide on the Rocksteady mantle and you just go to town on the Fire Chicken. It can't even fight back most of the time. So even if you're not hunting Tempered Apexes and Arkveld and Gormagala consistently, when you go hunt some of the lower end monsters, they just kind of get destroyed. This is, of course, assuming that you have a strong build and that you're a good player. And yeah, I would like the monster roster to have 1 or 2 or 3 new monsters in there, or more returning monsters, like even with the Guardian system, could have put a couple more in there. But I have a firm belief that the quality of the roster is so good that it does excuse 1 or 2 missing monsters. I'm absolutely in love with monsters like Ray Dao, Nu Udra, Shou Wu, or Shei Wu, I believe that's his name, and also like Jin Dahad. Oh my lord, that monster's good. Playing the story for the first time made me regret the fact that I played against Arkveld so much in the demo, because fighting him for the first time in the final game would have been way more special. And also, I really like Zoshia, way more than I did Magnamalo or Xeno'jiiva. And I like those 2 monsters quite a bit, so it's just a statement to, you know, tell you how much I like Zoshia. I did see some criticism towards people feeling slighted because of the Guardian monsters, like, you know, you have Doshaguma, and then you have Guardian Doshaguma, you have Rathalos, and you have Guardian Rathalos. But that doesn't really change much of my opinion, because in Base World you had Rathalos, and then you had Azure, you had Rathian, and then you had Pink. In Rise, you had the Apex monsters that started in the Rampages and then moved on to have their own quests. I'll even go a bit further back to 4U, because I played 4U not long ago, just before the release of Wilds actually, and I absolutely love it, but, you know, I didn't get super excited to fight Emerald Kongalala after I fought the regular one, or to fight Purple Gypsaros after I fought the regular one either. And I know that back then, Monster Hunter was a smaller franchise, so therefore they may have not had the resources to make the monster variants and subspecies a bit more creative, you know? The point is that I don't feel slighted. You might feel otherwise, that's perfectly fine. You don't have to agree with me just because I'm the content creator here. Dare I say, I'm actually kind of excited to see what kind of other monsters could be Guardians. That would be pretty cool. Like, Capcom, come on, give me a Guardian Legiana to fix what you did with Shrieking, because Shrieking was such a downgrade. For real. In regards to combat, I'm actually so pleasantly surprised by how fun the combat in Wilds in the base game is. For me, the most fun types of combat are still the more arcadey types of Monster Hunter, like GU, the Hunter Arts there, and then, you know, the Silkbind, I believe, in Rise. I don't remember the name of the skill exactly, but you know what I'm talking about. But the things like Focus Strikes and Power Clashes and Offset Attacks, they all just feel so good. I've never actively been playing so many different weapons in a Monster Hunter game. I'm playing like 5 weapons at the same time right now, and it's because they're all so different. And fun. Like, it feels like I can approach the exact same hunt with a different weapon, and the whole fight just feels like it's something completely different from what I did before. I think my Greatsword and Sword and Shield players are gonna really resonate with what I'm about to say, but isn't it really nice to finally have our block not be just a panic button? Like, Offensive Guard is a viable skill in our builds now. Isn't that just gorgeous? This segues pretty well into the next topic, which is the so dreaded difficulty, which again, I will not talk about too much because I have another video that I will talk about it in greater detail. Do I think that Wilds is hard? No. Not really, because if you're paying attention and you've been playing the game for a while and you're used to G rank, this is not that hard. I don't think that the problem are the monsters' movesets or their damage. I think the problem is their HP and the amount of quality of life that makes the game easier. What makes me think that their damage and their movesets are fine is that usually it only takes like 1 or 2 hits from a 5-star tempered monster to make a cart. But even so, it just feels like their HP is very low, especially if we're talking about something like the frenzied monsters monsters, it feels like they're on their deathbed and you're putting them out of their misery. I guess that's kind of a point since they're afflicted with the frenzy, but at the same time, this was not the case in 4U. Even without mentioning the Apex monsters, the frenzied monsters felt way more satisfying to fight. Combine that with how the Palico essentially babysits you by healing you all the time and healing your ailments all the time and laying traps all the time, and that your Sacred has iframes when he picks you up from the floor, and it doesn't become hard to see that perhaps they're doing a little bit too much. Like, dude, to give you an idea of how this has been affecting new players, I have a bunch of friends that have been playing Monster Hunter Wilds. They just started playing Monster Hunter, they picked it up for the first time with Wilds, and some of them forgot that Mega Potions were a thing when they were in high rank, and the majority of them didn't even know what a Nulberry was. But yeah, I'll talk more about it in greater detail and analyze the points that I mentioned in another video fully dedicated to talking about the difficulty. Overall, I think it's okay. I just think with a couple tweaks, it could be better. Lastly, in my last video, a lot of you guys pointed out that I sounded genuinely depressed at the fact that armor skills and some weapons were a little bit broken. Again, not broken as in too good, broken as in not working as intended. And after watching that video, you know, after resting and, you know, going to watch it the next day, I realized that, yeah, I sounded way more miserable than I thought I did. By no means did it, like, remove a sense of faith in Monster Hunter. I mean, it kind of sucks that games nowadays, especially AAAs, release in these states where they are kind of broken and they don't work as intended. But then the big question becomes, is the game fun enough to make your experience more positive than negative? And in my opinion, yes, the pros far outweigh the cons, and I've had a blast with this game, and I still believe that despite its flaws, it has the potential to become the best Monster Hunter game to this date. But my experience shouldn't discredit any struggles that you might have had. Just because my computer has run the game really smoothly and I've had a ton of fun despite the game's flaws, it doesn't mean that you will feel the same way. I've had friends with high-end PCs have the game crash every like 2 hunts, and if I had played like that, I would probably not be very happy about it, and I would say that the game isn't worth it. But that's the key difference. I had a good experience, and I will admit, I get lucky with these things. I have a pretty good computer, and even with games like Lords of the Fallen, when people were having abysmal performance issues, I ran 70 hours into the game before I had a single crash. And even with Wilds, I'm over 100 hours in and I have yet to experience a crash. Granted, like I said, I have a high-end gaming computer. I'm not gonna say that everyone's fortunate enough to be in my position, but even when I played it on a base PS5 console, it was smooth. And while things like armor skills and some weapon moves being a bit bugged do affect everyone regardless of platform, the performance stuff is pretty much only on PC. But despite all of the negatives that I've mentioned in this video and all the criticism that I mentioned in other videos and criticism that I will mention in future videos, I still think Monster Hunter Wilds is a very fun game that has improved a lot in the Monster Hunter formula and has an insane potential. If you're someone who tried the game and doesn't think that it's worth your time and money, you're entitled to your opinion. If you're someone who has been enjoying the game like myself despite all its flaws, you're also entitled to your opinion. What doesn't make sense is going out of our way to hate on each other, saying that you're just bad at the game, that's why you quit, or you're just a glazer, that's why you're still playing it. At the end of the day, Monster Hunter Wilds is a video game and it's meant to be fun. If it's fun for you, great, keep playing it despite its flaws and don't listen to the bait that people put out there to try to get you mad. And if you don't like it, well, I would love you to still play the game because I think that the game's very fun. Maybe come back to it later, but if you truly just don't like it, I don't know, go play a different video game. Go do something else. Go have some fun as well. You deserve it. But that's gonna be all for me today. You guys know the drill. Stay safe, and until we meet again.